He is a larger-than-life figure in the world of music, so it's only figures that he should become a larger-than-life figure in bronze.
News 11's Patrick Clark brings us a first look at the new Chuck Berry sculpture.
Tchaikovsky, the news. Chuck Berry is moving to University City, at least something that looks a lot like Chuck and stands around 8 feet tall. I got a first-hand look at the Harry Weber sculpture and a chance to see how Weber captures the father of rock and roll in clay.
John Lennon said if you tried to give rock and roll another name, you might call it Chuck Berry. So how do you capture the creator of rock music?
In working in clay, you both work in addition and subtraction. Usually I like to load a lot more clay than I need on a spot and then have the opportunity to carve it back into the shapes that I really want. Right now we're working on the drapery, what we call drapery. Anytime you clothe a figure, it's called drapery. And I'm trying to make the drapery accentuate the movement of the piece.
His task? To create something as timeless as the music Berry created.
This process hasn't changed much in 2,000 years. It's still very labor intensive, and about a third of the time is accounted for with me doing this clay work. And about a third of the time is making the molds, and a third of the time is the casting and the reassembly, welding it back together in bronze. We didn't want one of those sculptures that people would sort of sit down on the bench and talk to and this kind of thing. We wanted a tribute to Chuck Berry. When we talked to Chuck, he said, I wanted to be, shown as a younger Chuck Berry, well, one of the very beginning of rock and roll, which I thought was a cool thing to do. I like to call it the Maybelline face. So that's what I was going for with this, where he's really having fun singing, and that's, I think, the thing that sets him apart. I can't remember a day of my life I haven't drawn at least one picture, whether it's on a napkin, an envelope, a sketchbook, something, because I collect faces, and I just love expressions.
Yeah, what is this expression?
Well, it's like he's holding a note.
What chord is he playing?
Somebody told me it's a B.
Now here comes the part of the story that scared me to death.
Where are you going with this?
Right under him. So, hang on, we gotta install it slow. Drop your end a little bit.
Can it land?
No, it can't. Okay. Drop your end. Actually place the fingers when we get around to putting the strings on too.
This is about the coolest thing I think I've done.
That's old Chuck Berry's 1.5 times Gibson 350. So, like that. Great.
That made me very nervous.
Yeah, it made me very nervous too.
Weber carves his molds first in foam, covers it in clay, and finally it's cast in bronze for the ages.
When he's playing, you can see he's having the time of his life. Still is. He's having a lot of fun. I pinch myself every morning that I get a paycheck doing what I like doing. Should everybody get to do that? I'm convinced that it's not practice exercised by devotion, by sheer discipline, by gritting your teeth. It's practice because you love doing it, because you can't not do it, and that's what makes Chuck Berry.
Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the statue is the brainchild of Joe Edwards, Charlie Brennan, and Bill McClellan. The Chuck Berry sculpture is set to be installed in University City in September. It will be part of a music-themed plaza and the head of the Greenway Centennial Bike Path. Patrick Clark, News 11.